Hi everyone, my name is Khalisha Dinata. On this video, I will explain about the Smart PLS software. The Smart PLS software that I use, the PLS version 3 software. Okay, before we start, I will show my research model. The model has two independent variables, one mediating variable, and one dependent variable. The independent variables in this study are hedonic value and social value, while the mediating variable in this study is hope and the dependent variable in this study is commitment. This study has 7 hypotheses. The first and second hypothesis are hedonic value and social value will have a significant effect on hope. The third and fourth hypothesis are hedonic value and social value have a significant effect on commitment. The fifth hypothesis is that hope has a significant effect on commitment. The sixth and seventh hypothesis are hope is able to mediate the relationship between hedonic value and social value on commitment. Then, the first step is to input the dataset I have with 168 respondents into PLS. PLS has two models, namely the outer model and the inner model. Outer model consists of validity test and reliability test, where validity test is divided into two, namely convergent validity and discriminant validity. The next model is the inner model, which consists of the coefficient of determination, F square, path coefficient, and Q square. After entering the data into PLS, the first step is to draw the model according to the research model. After drawing, we rename it according to the name of each variable. Next, we run with PLS algorithm to find out the validity test and reliability test. First, we click on the outer loading section to find out convergent validity. Here, all outer loading values are above 0.7, so that the existing data is valid. Next, we look at the construct reliability and validity section. Here, the average value is above 0.5, so that it meets the convergent validity requirements. Then, it can also be seen that the composite reliability and Cronbach's alpha values are above 0.6, so that all variables in this study are reliable. We click on the discriminant validity section. Here, there is Fornell lacquer, where the factor loading shows the highest value compared to other latent variables. Then, cross loading, which shows the highest value compared to other latent variables. Furthermore, heterotrait monotrait, or commonly called HTMT, here shows all number are below 0.9. Well, here are all indicators and variables have passed the validity and reliability test, so we can proceed to the next test, namely the inner model. The first inner model has a coefficient of correlation, or R square. We click R square. This R square is to determine the amount of variance in the dependent variable that can be explained by the independent variable. Here it shows 0.550, which means that 55% of the variation in the hope variable can be explained by the hedonic value and social value variables. Then 0.558, which means that 55.8% of the variance in the commitment variable can be explained by the hedonic value, social value, and hope variables. The remaining 44.2% is explained by other variables outside this study. Now F square is to determine the magnitude of the influence of the independent variable on the dependent variable, where above 0.02 is small, 0.15 is moderate, and 0.35 is large. Now we enter bootstrapping to find out the path coefficient. Path coefficient is useful for knowing the direction of research. First, click on the total indirect effect. Here we can find the path coefficient and the effect between variables directly. Here we can see in the original sample where it shows a positive number so that it can be said the direction of the relationship between variables is positive. Here we can also see the hypothesis and relationship between variables through the t-statistic, which must be above 1.96, and the p-value, which must be below 0.05. This shows the hypothesis 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7 are accepted because they have a t-statistic above 1.96 and a p-value below 0.05. Meanwhile, hypothesis 4, which shows the relationship between social value and commitment, is rejected. Then, now we will look for the effect of the mediating variable through clicking the specific indirect effect. Here, the 6 and 7 hypotheses are accepted because the t-statistic value is above 1.96 and the p-value is below 0.05. So, hope is able to mediate the relationship between hedonic value and social value on commitment. Finally, we will do a Q-square test or blindfolding to find out what is good predictive. We click blindfolding, then we select construct cross-validated communality. Here we can see that in Q all variables have a value above 0, which means that it shows good predictive.